I'll be going over CSS. So yesterday I did some HTML based on the previous project, and so this is what I came up with. I can see my logo is too big, so it's always advisable when you're making a logo to make it small, mostly 200 pixels by 200 or 150 by 150 or 80 by 80 pixels. So but I'll just use CSS to reduce the size, and I'll be doing more styling today, though I'll not do everything, but I'll start on styling today. So when it comes to HTML, its purpose is for the structure and the semantics, and then CSS is to style, to make your website more appealing, and also to provide branding for a company. And the purpose of JavaScript is to enable interaction, like when a client clicks on a specific item, something has to happen. So it enables the client or the person visiting the website to be able to interact with the website. So today I'll be going into CSS, and I'm going to create a file here. Okay. So I'll just call it main.css. So when you're doing CSS, all your files, they can have a different name, but they should always have an extension of .css. Okay, and so for it to be recognized here, for it to be used on your given index.html or any given HTML file, you have to link it. And so the way you do, you go to the head, then here in the head, and you link it. So you use link rel, then style sheet, then you put the link to the external CSS file here. So in this case is main.css, like that. Right now I haven't done any changes, so nothing is really going to happen even if I reload my page. So the first thing is I want to set my body to a certain width. So the first thing when you're doing CSS is you select whatever either element or class or ID you want to apply the styling on. Then you have the two braces, and then you have the property. So in this case, let's say my property is width, and I can set it, let's say, to 1012 pixels. So that's what I've set as my width. So if I save and I reload, you can see nothing really has happened here. Okay, so the next thing is I'm coming in here and I'm going to write margin. So from the top, I want it to be 0. Then from left and right, I want it to be auto. So this will center it. As you can see, it has been centered. So it has been centered on my screen. Then I can apply other things. Let's say I want the font family. So you can use Google Fonts, or you can use the WebServe fonts. So if you're using Google Fonts, you should have already have come up with all this stuff. So you can do Google Fonts, and so you select. So you can type here something that, let's say if I type my fonts, so that's what will appear here. So whichever font that you decide to go with, it will show here. So there are so many fonts you can always choose from. Let's say I choose this. So if I select, you can see they are different here. We have thin, light, all those. So you can always select the one that you want. So let's say I want to use bold for the headline. I could just do that. And there are two ways. So I could just copy this and paste it in the head of my HTML here, that will still make the font that you are applying to work. So if I copy this and I just paste in the head, it will still work. Like, okay. However, I want to use the import. So this will be for the head. Okay. So I'm going to choose also, let's say for the body, I want a different font. So you can always go through, let's say, note that I use this Montserrat. So as well, I can type here something that I want it, like here, which it's already I typed my fonts, and then I can see how they display. So I can choose, let's say, regular, like that. Okay. So I can select as many as I want. Okay, you can also come down here and just check all this. So you can get as many fonts, you can change the font size, all those stuff, and you can just go through all this. You can browse more if you want. There are so many options, and then you can view whatever you have selected up here. Okay, so I have these two, and you can see they're already here. So if I copy this link and just link it here in HTML at the head of my HTML file, it will work. However, I want to use the import and put them in my CSS file. So I'll put them here at the top, like that. Okay, so I can do font family, and because I'm doing for the body, and I chose for the body, I chose Montserrat, like that. Okay, Montserrat. Okay, so I can save and see if the font changes. You can see the font has changed, the way it looks. It has changed. I could do for the headlines because I have a font for the headlines. So I can just come here and do H1, H2, H3, H4, and I can apply font family. So in this case, it is Noto, sans serif. Noto sans. So if I save, if it is correct, it is going to change the fonts. You can see the fonts, they have changed now. So always ensure whichever font that you select, you type it correctly. Otherwise, it will cause problems. So you can always confirm the way you write that font. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. So I can give my body a background color. And you can always choose different colors. So you can use color picker online. There are so many color palette, color picker, all of them. You can always use them to help you with choosing a color. So you can use color name, you can use hexadecimal, or you can also use RGB. Okay, so if I want my background color to be blue, I can do that like that. So if I save, my background color should change. You can see it has changed to blue. I can change the color of the text to something readable. let's say to account silk. Okay, so if I save, you can see the colors, they have changed the color as well, like that. So I just want to style my header first, and I'll select it, select the header. Okay, so whichever style for the header, I can apply it here. So before I do that, I want to reduce the image size, so I could just do header AMG. I could do width 100 pixels. Okay. So you can see now my logo has reduced on the size, and I want to give it a margin from the top, because I can see it's exactly at the border. So I'll give it let's say 1 em. Okay, so it has pushed it down. So I want these colors to change as well, so but I leave them first. So I'll do header, and I'm going to give it a background color. So I'll just pick any color here, pick this one. Okay, so I have it like that. Then I want padding, I'll apply padding here. So padding will push all the stuff away from the border. So you can see. Okay, let me just reduce this to 1. That, and then the next thing, still in the head, I want it to display a grid, and I want to set the grid template columns. I'll set it to for the logo, because I have the logo, then I have the menu. So based on how you did your work. Okay, so I can see my header here. I have the image and the menu. So I can simply apply that. I can do for the logo, I want it to be, let's say, 200 pixels, and then for the for my menu, I want it to be auto, because there are many. So you can see that takes my menu to this side. Okay, so the next thing I want to select is the menu. Okay, like that. So I've selected the navigation tag and then the lists tag, and so I want them to display again, display grid, and I want to set the grid template columns. So I'll set them to repeat, and I want them to auto fit. So whichever size they have for auto, they should auto fit there. And I want to set the minimum and maximum value. So I'll set it to let's say 5 em and 1 fr. So that should be able to get them to be like that. Okay, so I can still do more on that, and so that's basically about the menu for now.